Rise and shine to the morning light. Sister MJ brings the truth so bright. Health and nature in every sound. Feel the rhythm, let's get unbound. From our higher we get our power. Every herb, every healing flower. Sister MJ shows the way. Naturally living every day. Naturally you, naturally free, naturally living as God meant to be. Breathe the air that's fresh and pure. Nature's bounty is the cure. Sister MJ shows what's real in every word and every meal. From the mountains to the sea, every breath is harmony. Feel the beat and feel alive. With Sister MJ we thrive. Grains and fruits in every bite. Feel the energy, feel the light. Harmony in every part. Naturally you with all your heart.
Good evening, good evening. Good evening and welcome to Naturally You. How is everyone tonight? Shalom, Arapika, Sister Maria, Ak Arak, wow, Shalom. And more joy said Shalom, family. Imagine that. How are you? I pray you are doing way better than expected. Way better than expected. I always have to exhale because it's my time to just relax and just talk to you. You know, each day it's like you go, stress and whatever else is going on, the crazy in the world. And then I come here and I can go and just relax. Last week was the beginning of our new season, right? And we talked about, the brain and the brain gut connection and how all that connects. And we want to segue into it. I want to continue actually, because I ended on sleep and I forgot to mention about sleep and how you can get the most out of getting to sleep. Shalom, Sister Esteline. So if you have issues sleeping, here's some things you can do. All right. And I thank the Most High for giving us all of these natural healing modalities that are available to us. Because if you look in the world today, on the world view, you get a lot of synthetic drugs and artificial products in your suggestive items to use to get you to sleep, like melatonin. When we learned last week, we can get melatonin fresh from outdoors and what our body is doing, right? Well, something you can do is if you have magnesium lotion, You can take magnesium lotion and rub it on the back of your neck before going to bed, and also on your stomach. Of course, I have to give you a disclaimer there. Make sure you already put your castor oil on the navel and rub that in, and then you can take your magnesium lotion and rub that on the belly area, and that will also help you with sleep. Also, if you have any essential oils, or I have a lovely spray, it's a lavender spray. I spritz it on my pillow if I have issues going to sleep. And we talked about, oh gosh, many shows back about white peony root. You can take that to help you sleep as well. And of course, a favorite is chamomile tea. Taking that a few minutes before bed, that always helps. I've always recommended that before bed you can do your vitamin D3 with K2 and zinc, because your body repairs when you sleep. And if you can get good quality sleep by turning off all your social media, getting the room very dark, and just being still, you'll do better, right? And then another exercise I did find, if you're laying in bed, I sleep on my back, okay? That's supposed to be the best way to sleep. I did it for vanity reasons. However, Dr. Malcolm Hill at Tabernacles, he mentioned too that, you sleeping on the back is the best thing, because for me it helps with my circulation. I had circulation issues, and I was trying to figure out a way to bypass that, and I realized sleeping on my back helped. And what I do, I have a roll, it's like a log roll that I put on the back of my neck right in here, and then I put one between, right above my buttocks and the lower back of my spine. And some people also can put it on their knees, under their knees, if they have issues with circulation. And that really does help. Now, if you were laying down on your back and you pull your legs up and then just hold them in this position, you can cross them or just hold them, you'll be amazed at how quickly you fall asleep. I thought it was hokey pokey, and I tried it and it was amazing. Well, Shalom, Beauty Beats, and Annette, welcome, welcome. So I'm going to leave that with you. Do what you can there. And of course, your grounding sheet or your linen sheets. One of my dear friends, she said she got some linen sheets with cotton, and she thinks they're a little rough on her skin. And I said, well, linen gets softer and softer the more you wash it. So she's looking forward to that, but she was just excited to get her linen sheets. And I'm excited for her, because there's a biofield of protection on you when you are lying in that linen, protecting you and giving you a deeper REM sleep as well, because of the high frequency. Okay, now I've gotten all of that out of the way. Let's talk today. Let's talk. We're going into the fall season. I'm sure many of you are seeing the leaves changing. I hope you are. Oh, Sister Maria, I'm sorry. You're seeing an orthopedic surgeon tomorrow. Oof. That takes me back to when I fractured my tibia. They wanted to put metal in me and all this, and I was like, no, 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 no. Nature has a way. And praise the Most High, 3 years and I can run now without any pain. I don't even feel the pain. All the bruising and everything is gone on the side and also behind my knee. I'm amazed by the power of what the Most High gave us and how wonderful it works in our favor. So let's talk histamine intolerances. Years ago, I always used to hear about histamine, histamine, histamine. And I thought, what is that? Somebody who has allergies? And I never paid attention to it because I never had those issues. And now that I am a host of a show, it's important that I bring to light things that are relevant to my community. Many people do not realize how important this is, because once you realize it, I think you get a better, you get more insightful on what are the issues that you have. Many of us, we eat, we drink, we play, we sleep, and pretty much we feel good. We're not at our best, but we feel good. And so we're happy with that. But there are some things unbeknownst to us. And last week I touched on that. All the things that our government, or should I say, GOV apostrophe T, I think that's harder for the algorithm to spell than me speaking it. So there are so many things that they do not want us to know. And what they've done a very good job giving us items that are toxic to us, whether it is our laundry detergent, the fabrics we wear. Stay tuned next week. You're going to love when we talk about. And then it's also the deodorants with the aluminum. It's the food, the plastics, the processed, ultra processed foods. It's the plastics in our bodies now, because it's in the water bottles. We use plastic bowls, plastic cups. We use plastic silverware. And it just goes on and on. The hair products, the dyes, the tattoo ink, and also we have the shampoo, the lauryl sodium sulfate they use in the shampoos. All of these things, the makeup, whether it's the sunscreen, whether it's the toner, the bronzer, all of it. The perfumes we spray on because we want to smell dynamic. All of that harming us in a way. And we have regulators in place, quote, okay, we have regulators in place. However, they are not doing the job to protect we, the people. Therefore, today, we are going to discuss what's out there. And guess what? You get to choose, because the Most High gave us a choice what we want to choose. You can choose His natural remedies, or you can choose the synthetic. Totally up to you. If you want to commingle, again, totally up to you. However, at Naturally You, we like the natural. I wish I had pictures. One day I need to show you all the pictures of me so made up I didn't even recognize me. Okay. And I used to have the hair dye, the color. I had a fabulous colorist, and she had my hair looking fly, as they would say. I might be dating myself, but that's okay, right? Shalom, Sister Allison, welcome. And I dyed my hair because I wanted the color. And then I never did the bold and the brazen colors like they have today. However, I did the colors, I did the threading of the eyebrows. I tried the eyelashes, and that was just not for me, because my eyelashes were long anyway, and they hit my glasses, or when I had on sunglasses. So that didn't work for me. And then, of course, my skin was the worst. You could literally fry eggs on my face by 7 o'clock in the morning. And it was terrible. But I was slim, I was tall, and everyone thought I was healthy. That was not the case. I had serious skin issues, and I even used this drug that they had. What was it called? I had it on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, I use that to clear my skin up, like how, nebulizers, when sometimes when children have eczema real bad, they give them a treatment, and my skin was so bad. Accutane, I did Accutane. Once I learned what that was about, that's when I started getting really serious about what is going into my body. I learned the skin is the largest organ. I learned the liver is expressing itself when you have all these impurities coming out on your skin. It's typically the liver. So all of this I learned, and then I had to start connecting the dots. I got me a book on the human body and how it works and how many systems there were. And that's how I started my journey, because I was a mess. I was a walking advertisement for American Express because they said, don't leave home without it. I didn't leave home without makeup. I didn't leave home, not even for the mailbox, not even to take out the trash. I did not go outside unless I had something on my skin. Because if you looked at my skin without it, you could play tic-tac-toe on my skin. It was that bad. If I touched it, I got a mark. I'm here to tell you, thank the Most High, I found essential oils. I found coconut oil. And learning that it was non-comedogenic, which means it doesn't clog your pores. It was antibacterial, antifungal, and antiviral. I started cleaning up my skin. And then I got hold of this wonderful product here, the castor oil, and that took it to another level. Because this bad boy here, this is hexane-free castor oil, exceptionally good for your skin. And it's a driver. It has linserenic acid. Did I say that right? Linserenic acid. And it goes deep, so it drives it in deep. So whether you do your iodine first, which helps break up cysts and that kind of stuff, then you put this on top, it drives it in. And if you want to go a step further, put your little heating pad over it, and it's a no-brainer at that point. But yes, I love this product. I will forever, 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 ever be talking about it, because everybody needs to have it in their healthcare cabinet. We don't go and say medicine, because medicine is really a lot of synthetic stuff, and we dealing with natural. Okay? Welcome, Sister Dawn and Sister Nina. Good to see you all. So with that, sorry, I had to go off into my diatribe about how horrible my skin was. But I want you all to be able to relate. I'm coming from a place of, I've been there. I've done that. I've experienced it. It wasn't pretty, but I'm hoping that through what I went through and sharing it with you, you can identify if you see something come up, whether it's your skin or your child, your grandchild, your aunt, uncle. You can help them, because we're in this together, and we want to make sure we are living our best life at all times. So let's get started, and let's talk about eating clean on a budget. Eating clean on a budget. When I say organic, what's the first thing that came to y'all's mind when I said organic? You can write it in the chat. When I said organic, what comes to mind first of all? Well, for most people, they're like, oh, it's so expensive. It's so expensive. And you know what? I used to say the same thing. But then I realized that we were at war, and that war is very, very real. And I had to learn it's either me or them. And I'm like, my health is my wealth, so I learned to adjust. So eating clean on a budget, let's talk about that. Doesn't that salad look divine? Oh my goodness, delicious. So I'm sure you all have heard of the EWG. I know we spoke about it in when we had the show Return to Eden. We talked about EWG and all of the toxins and the chemicals in our environment. And EWG is the Environmental Workers Group, and they identified the dirty dozen. Every year they tell you what are the dirty dozen, and what I mean by dirty dozen, we're talking about for 2025, what are the fruits and vegetables that they spray the most? And therefore, because conventional farming is spraying it so heavily, we need to make sure that we are choosing organic or sustainably raised or knowing your farmer at all costs to prevent all types of histamine intolerances in our body. So let me go deeper. The EWG identifies the dirty dozen, as I mentioned, a report on pesticide residues found on conventionally grown produce. When I say conventionally grown, I mean your produce that has the number 4 on it. If you look at the label on your fruits and vegetables, typically on the fruits, it's a sticker. On the vegetables, you may find a sticker, or if it's like your leafy greens, you'll see like a twist tie on it that has a tag, and it will tell you there as well. So for 2025, let me first go with the ones that are identified as the dirty dozen, okay? Because there's the dirty dozen and then there's the clean 15. The dirty dozen are spinach, strawberries, greens, grapes, peaches, cherries, nectarines, pears, apples, blackberries, blueberries, and potatoes. Those all show the highest number of residues being sprayed on them. Then, if we take a look at the Clean 15 for 2025, it highlights produce with the lowest number of residues. Those are pineapples. Now, make sure you do not get your pineapples from Hawaii, because the Dole folks, they spray their stuff. It's terrible. They stole that from the indigenous people of Hawaii. And I don't support it, but again, you get the choice. And then also sweet corn, avocados, papaya, onion, the frozen sweet peas, asparagus, cabbage, watermelon, cauliflower, bananas, mangoes, carrots, mushrooms, and kiwi. So those are the ones that get sprayed the least. So if you're shopping with a budget in mind, you might opt out for conventionally grown versions of produce with fewer residues and consider organic for items that typically rank higher, which was the first ones, like the blueberries. We have here in Tennessee an organic farm where you can go pick your own blueberries. It's never sprayed, and I love that. And you just leave a donation. I typically go and pick and then wash it, come home, wash it, freeze it, and that lasts me until next year, the same time, which is typically in July. And please keep those in mind, because again, we are worth what we put in our body. Our health is our wealth. Now, let us look at what is natural. What does natural mean to you? Okay, we're eating clean on a budget. We're going to look for what's more, friendly to us and our lifestyle. But then let's talk about what is natural to you. And by natural, I want to say It appeals to consumers. We look, I mean, for us, because we health conscious or spiritually minded, if you want to say, however you want to say it, and we like the word natural. Many of us believe that the word natural is healthier or more strictly regulated than one's label organic, when in reality, that USDA organic, let's talk about what that really means. It can be used on products without any proof of validation to avoid GMOs, which is genetically modified organisms, or as I say, gross me out. To avoid GMOs, synthetic pesticides and fertilizers, antibiotics, irradiation, that's when they pick the vegetables and the fruits green, they spray it, and then they ship it on the rail cars to the market, and they make it look like it's ripe to you. That irradiation is like going through the airport through that machine that radiates your body. Same thing. And then also you have the sewage sludge and the growth hormones that many people are taking. Remember, all of this is flushed in the sewer, and the your local plant, your water treatment plant, they regurgitate it, and somehow it gets into our systems through the water. Can you believe that? Not our GOVT. No way. Then those products usually sport the USDA organic seal, which you see there on your screen. So if you are shopping for personal care products with organic ingredients, you can trust the NSF certified mark. Now, the NSF is supposedly certified, but it's independently tests and verifies products to meet specific health, quality, and safety standards. We will find that the regulation on that is not as real as they claim. And we need to be conscious of that, especially those of us who are vegan or have want nothing to do with the PETA folks, which is the people who are against eating meat or animals of any kind, harming the animals. It is a travesty what they're doing, and we have three-letter organizations that's supposed to be protecting us. And truth is, you will find if you do the research that not so much. They're not doing it too much. All right, so when you hear natural, and at the end we're going to dive into natural a little bit deeper, because that natural may be that it came off of a tree, but in reality, that natural is not something you want to take lightly. If you see natural flavors on all your packaged processed foods that you eat or drink, you want to stop and say, let me think about that. So, with that, I'm going to segue now over to our histamines. And why is it that so many of us have histamine intolerances? And what are they? What can we do about it? And have we realized that we have them? Many of us don't even know. All right. So histamine is a signaling chemical your immune system releases to send messages between the different cells in your body. Now, you all know we have trillions of cells going up and down our body, right? Trillions of cells. But it might seem surprising, but even healthy foods can make you feel unwell. Have you ever eaten and just didn't feel good afterwards? Has that ever happened to you? Well, especially if you have histamine intolerances, that probably has happened to you many and many a times. And this condition occurs when the body can't properly break down histamines, which is a natural compound again involved in digestion, brain function, and the immune response. And that immune response has been it's just been amplified in the last what 5-10 years. There's autoimmune diseases and everything come up, and anytime you hear autoimmune, it's the body is actually turning on you and it's causing you to be sick and come up with all these issues. But when we break it down and peel back all the layers of that onion, we realize is that brain gut connection is real, it's key, and we need to be looking at that to heal from it. Now, the issue arises when the body lacks sufficient enzymes to break down these histamines. And histamine can then build up in the bloodstream and cause a range of symptoms. You may not realize that these symptoms that you're having is tied to a histamine intolerance. Let's go meet those two enzymes, all right? The two key enzymes I'm speaking about that break down histamines, right, are the histamine N methyltransferase, which is another word, HNMT, or I should say letters, which is active in the central nervous system and other tissues. And then we also have the diamine oxidase, which is mainly produced in the intestinal lining, which, in our gut microbiome, we have the large intestine on the outside, then we have the small intestine going on the inside. So this mainly produces the DAO, or diamine oxidase, is mainly produced in the intestinal lining, and it plays a major role, listen to this, in breaking down histamine from foods. So what kinds of foods and what kinds of issues could happen because our histamine is not doing what it should? Because there's so many itises these days, right? Let's talk about those. We have conditions like celiac disease, irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS. We have SIBO, which is small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. We have leaky gut, which is holes in the intestine, it's the stomach lining, I believe. Yes, stomach. And then we have these all impair, and then we have the gluten intolerance, which, the gluten is from the wheat, which they took the wheat and took out some of the healing properties of it, and they put in some other chemicals that cause an intolerance to gluten. So it makes it harder for the body to metabolize these histamines. And there's certain meds that they have that we call NSAIDs, or antidepressants, and immune modulators, which may interfere with that diamine oxidase. So a person can begin to react to all sorts of foods and other harmless substances and not know why. So today we want to look at it because some of the symptoms are so broad and they're so varied that it makes it hard to determine and diagnose what your histamine intolerance may be. And I've got to tell you, this is quite interesting. Again, like I said, it was something that I did not focus on because I never thought that I had any allergies, never had issues with it, so I just didn't pay attention to it. But I kept seeing it more and more in magazines and stuff, and so I thought, let's take a look at it. So Again, those enzymes that we're talking about that the diamine oxidase needs to break down, we may or may not know what they are. So let's start there. The most common enzymes in our bodies are, I'm going to give you the enzyme, its function, and where it works, okay? Amylase. I'm sure you've heard of that. It breaks down starches into sugars, and it works in our saliva and also our pancreas. All right. Now, you know, pancreas and diabetes and all that. I'm just saying, make the connection here. Then we have lipase, which digests fats into fatty acids. Now, that affects the pancreas and the small intestine. Then we have protease, which breaks proteins into amino acids. And that works in the stomach, the pancreas, and the intestines. We also have lactase, which breaks down lactose, which is in the milk sugar. And that's in the small intestine. We have sucrase, sucrase, which breaks down our sucrose, which is the sucrose, which is our table sugar. You know, we put in our sweet tea, we put in our uh, lemonade, all those things. It affects our small intestine, the enzymes there. Then we have trypsin, which continues protein digestion, and it affects our pancreas. That's where it works. And then we have catalase, which converts hydrogen peroxide to water, oxygen. And all cells, especially the liver, is where it works. So all the cells throughout the body. And you know the liver is the most used organ. Then we have cytochrome P450. It detoxifies drugs. It detoxifies drugs and toxins, and that again is in the liver. So those are the most common enzymes in our body. These enzymes are vital to our digestion, our detox, our energy production, and our cellular repair. So if something is going on and we need to heal and we can't get these enzymes working in those various organs that it works in, we are having issues, we're having trouble. And nature has a way of telling us what we need. I don't know if you all have heard of HCl, the hydrochloric acid. And that is something, it's a liquid you could actually take internally, and it helps the actual gut, the healing there. It gives you what you need. Because our stomach, we're supposed to produce it naturally, but sometimes we don't because everything is not working as it should. And if you have any of those diseases that I mentioned, that could be why. If you have the celiac or any of those diverticulitis, any of those, that could be a reason why you're unable to break down these things. So we do have nature's enzyme-rich foods, right? Uh, we have on the celiac, it's an autoimmune disorder where the body attacks its own small intestine when gluten is consumed. And where the trigger here is gluten for celiac, and it's a protein that's found in wheat, barley, and rye. Now, sometimes many people get a bread that has a multi-grain bread, and that may be an issue that's causing you to have a trigger there. It damages the villi, which is the little hairs in the small intestinal wall, leading to malabsorption. So you can't absorb the nutrients from the food. You feel tired, you've got anemia, low blood, and you get skin rashes. What we have found is that may be because you have little parasites in there that are working to leach, because parasites, you're the host, and it leaches from you the nutrients of the food that you're trying to get energy, and it's causing you to have fatigue. Then we also have irritable bowel syndrome, which is a functional gut brain disorder causing chronic abdominal pain, bloating, and altered bowel habits. So you can go anywhere from constipation to diarrhea, or you get both, on and off, on and off, on and off. They don't really understand the cause, but they say it's usually tied to stress. Food sensitivities, I believe, is the main one. And then the gut motility issues, if you don't have the right microbiome going there, if you don't have the good probiotics and stuff mixing together, and you have a strong defense, then your gut, that bowel area, is going to be weakened. That's the word, weakened. So there's no visible damage to the intestines, but the symptoms can be life disrupting. And I like to say, for that, you have marshmallow root, you've got slippery elm, you have aloe vera juice you can use, and all of those help soothe that irritable bowel. And how do I know this? Guess who used to have it? Yeah, I used to have it, so I know. Then we also have SIBO, which is small intestinal bowel or bacteria overgrowth. So the excess bacteria in the small intestines, which makes it your small intestines, it doesn't thrive. It doesn't do what it should be doing. It's low stomach acid, and you have issues in that gut. You've got gas, bloating, nutritional malabsorption. Again, you eating organic, you eating all the right foods, and you still feeling drained. Your body's not absorbing the nutrients because you have that overgrowth. Again, that overgrowth, parasites. Parasites. We've got to get rid of the parasites. They are not good for us. And there's one thing we can do. You know how at Passover we eat bitter herbs? Things like that, or like lemon water in the morning with a little cayenne pepper, a little turmeric, a little black pepper. All of that helps our absorption and supports that flow there for that small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. You have that in warm water in the mornings. That will help it. Then we also have leaky gut, which it messes with the permeability for the cells, the nutrients to come in or go out. Once it breaks down the food, it needs to transfer it out through the bloodstream. And it can't happen because leaky gut is a condition where the gut lining becomes porous. It allows undigested food particles and toxins to enter the bloodstream instead of the nutrients that we wanted to. And it causes chronic inflammation. And we know what inflammation is, right? It's from processed foods, of course, stress, infections, or medications. If you're on any kind of medications, there's a likelihood that you may be experiencing leaky gut. And we need to also remember that bone broth is really good to help heal that. Zinc, aloe vera juice, L-glutamine, all helpful in healing that leaky gut. And then the last one is the gluten intolerance for the non-celiac gluten sensitivity. It's a reaction to gluten that causes symptoms similar to celiac, but without the autoimmune damage. You may have brain fog, bloating, fatigue, joint pain, and very moody. Your mood can shift and you don't know what's causing it, one minute you're happy, then one minute you're down. Gluten intolerance, it can do that to you. And our pastas, our bread, our baked goods, all of that have different glutens in it. And that's something we really need to take a look at, because if you can remove that gluten out of your food or your meals, you may see a better outcome. You may feel better, more energy and all. So all of these things, or all these histamines, what these histamines do, it can cause anxiety. If you have any of these intolerances, you can have bloating, irregular heartbeat, diarrhea, dizziness, eczema on your skin, headaches, hives. You can have nasal congestion, sneezing, watery eyes, low blood pressure. A lot of people have high, but you may have low blood pressure, and that's a sign. Then you also have nerve sensations. Some people have shingles with the nerves are out of whack. Then you have rosacea on the skin, where you have a ruddy, reddish type of tone on your skin you can't get rid of. And you may have sleep issues, itchy skin, or your tongue might be itchy when you eat certain foods. That's a histamine intolerance. And studies show that 55% of people with suspected food intolerances are due to that low diamine oxidase, which is that enzyme that we need to combat this. So let's talk about what can we do now to avoid this, okay? And here's what I suggest. This list I don't firmly agree with, because we've talked about our gut. We've talked about the Super Gut book, and how the yogurt, and it's not truly a yogurt per se, but what it is we are taking a probiotic and adding a high fat milk and a inulin, which is a fiber, and we are making a yogurt to help heal that gut. We are trying to heal that gut. So what they're saying to avoid, and there was a time when I had to do this. I had to remove all these things out of my diet and then reintroduce them one at a time. So that way you knew what was bothering you and what wasn't. So take a look at the list. Aged, fermented, or matured foods, alcohol, fermented drinks. You've got your kombucha. You have long stored, processed, or canned foods. And we recommend that you eat fish that's fresh. We recommend that you eat fresh vegetables that you cooked that day, or you brought home and cut up and you froze and you cooked it at a later date. We recommend that you stay away from fermented dairy and older dairy product. Again, some will say, well, Sister MJ, I'm doing my yogurt and I want to keep doing my yogurt. Yes, there's a difference here, because the yogurt that we're really doing is to recreate a new microbiome in our gut area. We calling it yogurt, but it's more of a reintroducing our gut to probiotics that's missing. I hope that makes sense to you. All right, so all of those foods there, that's what you need to avoid. So take some, I know some people don't do the tomatoes, the eggplant, because they call them nightshade. And that's true. You might want to avoid that. And if it's tomatoes, you have to decide whether it's fresh tomatoes, or if you maybe braise your tomato versus cooking it all the way. Different things to figure out what is going on with your gut. And then we want to look at foods to avoid if you have, I just went over that. The aged cheeses, smoked, salami, pepperoni, bacon. You might want to avoid that. Soy sauce, that's bad. It has the MSG in it. You want to stay away from the beer, the wine, the champagne, the ciders. You want to stay away from the canned fish or the canned meats. Try to do fresh. Fish that is not ultra fresh, like tuna, mackerel, sardines, and anchovies, you know, uh, yogurt, sour cream. Stay away from that if you have these issues. And certain fruits and products when ripe or overripe. Again, it's hard for you to know in our grocery stores today because it comes over irradiated. So on the way over on the train, they're putting it under a light to make it look like it's ripe. And you eating it thinking it's ripe, unless you know your farmer and you're able to get it from a local farmer who you're eating from in season. Okay? And then let's look at practical substitutions and low histamine choices. So we want fresh, unprocessed proteins like freshly cooked turkey, lamb, eggs, fresh or properly frozen. Uh, what I mean, if you took it out of the freezer, you take it and you cook it after it's thawed, that's pretty fresh. Most fresh vegetables, except the tomato, the eggplant, and the spinach. Stay away from those. Fresh fruits in small amounts, according to your personal preference. You have apples, pears, blueberries. Gluten-free grains, rice, quinoa, oats. Cut it out. And quinoa, a lot of people don't realize quinoa has a covering on it that you need to soak for a while, at least 20 minutes to break that oh gosh, I forget the name of it, but it has a coating on it that you need to actually let it sit in water for a while. And then once that barrier is broken, then you can cook it as you like. And then also remember, you can, if you can tolerate, stay away from the nut milks and simple homemade dressings. Make it yourself. Olive oil, lemon juice, and fresh herbs. Don't go for those the ones that are on the shelves in the store because they have a date on it and they add in enhancers to make it have a longer shelf life. You want to avoid, to reduce your histamine exposure, please, please, please consider no fast food. You are not privy to preparation and handling and the cleanliness in these fast food environments. They may say they have a vegan section where they wipe it down and spray it, but again, we don't know. We're not seeing from in front of the counter to what's going on behind the counter. And know your body. Know your body. Start eliminating high histamine items. Then maybe a week or two later, and journal this whole approach so you understand what's going on. A lot of times we think we will remember, but we don't. Buy fresh and freeze promptly. Avoid leftovers that sit for 24 hours. Cook from scratch and avoid all processed or long aged foods. Practice strict cold chain for fish and meat. If the color is off or the smell is off, like we talked about, I think it was 2 weeks ago, Walmart, they take their meat and they put a fresh layer over it and then repackage it. No, don't get your meat from there because the color is off. And once that plastic is swollen and it's like a bubble, a little slight bubble, and you know it's aged meat in there. Reintroduce those foods slowly, one at a time, and find where your personal threshold is. If you eat it maybe twice a week versus every day, then maybe your body can handle it better. But track everything, do a diary so you can spot the patterns. And remember, our we think of your temple as a healing temple. We know our temple is the body of the Most High, and we want to be in obedience to our dietary laws. We want to focus on the fresh, minimally processed, and we want to do our own freezing and whatnot, and honor our body and what we need to do to it. I have 4 minutes left. Can you believe it? So let's talk now about natural flavors. Now, disclaimer, I love baking. I love baking everything from scratch. And I do a mean German chocolate cake, a mean red velvet cake. But once I learned about those red velvet cakes and that dye, I don't even look at it in the store. I don't care who makes it. Unless I know what I use for the food coloring to get that color, I'm not touching it. Now, again, that's me. However, according to the FDA, natural flavors are substances derived from plants, which could be fruits, vegetables, herbs, spices, bark, roots, or leaves. It comes from animal, meat, poultry, seafood, dairy, or eggs, and fermentation products, including those from animal or plant sources like mushrooms. These ingredients, they say, are used solely to enhance the taste. Remember what these mean, right? Enhance the taste, not for nutritional value. They can be extracted through methods like distillation or roasting. Ingredient that falls under that category, and many of you may know this, castoreum, which is a slightly sweet substance that is found in the anal secretion of beavers. Did you hear me? The anal secretions of beavers, castoreum, which is sometimes used to substitute vanilla and enhance strawberry and raspberry flavors. Ice cream, anyone? The vanilla that is not the real vanilla, the extract. So a natural flavor could be derived from beef, fish, dairy, or even insects, like the beaver. Okay? Most companies do not specify their natural flavors. And I know for me, I had issue at work. They would bring in all kinds of pastries, and I would go, okay, where is it from before I partake? And then I'd go look it up and see whether they use butter, shortening, canola, all of that. I would email, but by the time I emailed, the food was gone, which was probably a good thing. And a lot of them didn't get back with you. And a lot of them don't have a problem with saying vegetable oil. I have a problem with that because I rather it be butter, but that costs more. So again, please be mindful of these things because we have many people in our society today who choose to be vegan, pescatarian, vegetarian, carnivore, and whatnot. And if we eaten this processed packaged foods and substances, we need to think about how it's affecting let's say, our allergic reaction or our histamine intolerances. Because at the end of the day, who likes being sick? I know I don't. I haven't been sick in a long time, maybe stressed, but not sick. We don't want to be sick in that sense. And there are many foods out there. Now, for those who are vegan, you can check out the Vegan Society or the PETA, which can give you valuable insights and resources. And also, Remember, we have natural herbs and spices and essential oils that you can use as a vegan natural flavor. We don't have to really rely on those things. And you also have mushroom derived flavors. I know even sugars, there's monk fruit and everything. And we have so many options these days, but be mindful is my suggestion. Be mindful because sneezing and feeling weak and eyes watering, you think you have allergies, but it's really the histamines. I hope that was broken down to you in a manner that makes sense. And I thank you for your time and attention. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your night and into the weekend and Shabbat. And I look forward to seeing you next week because next week we are going to talk about toxic clothing. Yes, our toxic apparel. And it's funny because more people are coming out and bringing that to light on social media. People are getting sick and tired of being tired and being lied to. So, with that, let's dance out to Naturally You. Shalom and thank you. Mwah. Much love to you all. And until next time, Sister Maria, we'll be praying for you with that surgeon visit. And let's do it naturally, folks. Ooh,
Naturally living is God meant to be. Breathe the air that's fresh and pure.
yeah, beaver
Nature's
balls.
bounty is the cure. Sister MJ shows what's real in every word and every meal. From the mountains to the sea, every breath is harmony. Feel the beat and feel alive. With Sister MJ we thrive.
Shalom, Sister
Grains and
Ebony.
fruits
Sister
in
Cheryl
every
Wheat.
bite.
Hi, sis.